One of the lessons that took me the better part of 30 years to finally accept and learn is that swinging harder does not necessarily translate to swinging faster. People used to tell me this all the time that I have a really fast swing, and they would always tell me, you hit the ball better if you don't swing so hard. You'll hit the ball further if you don't swing so hard. And I would always hear the argument that when you slow your swing down, you're going to make better contact, and that's what's going to make the ball go further. And that is true for sure. But what I've learned very recently is that it goes a step beyond that. You actually increase club head speed by slowing down to go faster. And I want to demonstrate that in this video. So I'm fully loosened up. I just went through my warm-up routine. So I'm going to hit 2 or 3 balls here at different swing tempos just to demonstrate what I've learned over the last couple of months, that a lot of times to hit the ball further, you actually have to slow your swing down, and it actually does translate to higher swing speed as well. So hopefully this video will help you with your tempo with the driver and help you to learn a little bit more about where true club head speed is actually generated in the swing and how to generate it. So for the first 2 or 3 balls here, I'm going to swing absolutely all out. I'm talking like par 5, coming off a double bogey, just got a text from the ex-wife, and you're just coming out of your shoes, angry swing. And I'm not focusing so much on these swings on where the ball goes or even how hard I hit the ball or how far it goes. I want to just look at the club head speed. And I want to see how much club head speed am I generating by swinging just as hard as I possibly can for 2 or 3 balls. All right, so club head speed on that was 111.9. Ball speed was 160.6, although that's not really the metric that I'm looking at here. All I'm really worried about is the club speed. But we'll notice the ball speed as well. But the club head speed is really the only thing that I'm really focusing on for this set of shots. All right, 112 again. Did not hit that ball great. I hit a little bit in the heel. 111.7. So at least we're consistent. Going to take a quick break, grab a quick sip of water. Now one more absolute full steam, hard as I can go. All right, that's all I've got in me. 112.2, picked up a half a mile per hour. So another school of thought that I've been taught on this is that, you know what, at the top of the golf swing, every single player in the world has the exact same club head speed at the top, 0 miles per hour. Because when you get to the top, you change direction. And for that one instant, when the club has stopped going back and is now going to start going down, it has to slow down to 0 miles per hour, and everybody is then reaccelerating back to the left. Since we're all getting to 0 anyway, what's the point in swinging back really fast? By swinging the club back really slow, I can have more control on the backswing, give myself a better chance of being in a good position at the top, and then swing as hard as I can on the way down. The struggle with this for me is that I tend to get really quick out of the top in my transition, but we'll put a couple of those out here just to throw it into the sample test. Very slow and deliberate to the top, and then turn it on as hard as we can on the way down. .109.4. Definitely have lost a couple this way. Let me try to accelerate a little more out of the top. All right, I accelerated so much I knocked my AirPod out. How much speed do we get out of that? 110.8. Okay. One more, slow back, fast through. Okay, well, I think I can find all of those 3 balls and play them again. 109.3. Okay, so we've tried swinging as fast as we can, as hard as we can. We've tried a good smooth to the top, then down as fast as you can. Now let's try it the right way. Then a little sip of water there to reset. So what I've learned is that to really generate as much speed as you can, the focus tends to be more on rhythm than it is effort. For me, what I've found with rhythm is to almost feel like I'm like the golf club is sort of a pendulum of sorts. If you think about moving a pendulum back and forth like this, at the bottom of the pendulum is when the club is swinging the fastest. When it gets up to the edges, it's slowing down, and then it starts to speed back up. Then once it gets to the bottom, it starts to slow down again to the point that it completely stops, and then starts to fall back in this direction. So the pendulum is going to have more speed around the bottom of its arc, and the golf swing is going to be the same way. I'm going to feel like I have a little bit of speed off the ball. When I'm over the ball, the very first thing that I'm going to try to feel is that I kind of sink into my left side just a little bit, get some pressure on my left foot so that I can push off my left foot pretty hard. I mean, I'm not trying to just knock myself over, but I do want to feel a little bit of force off that left foot to get some club head speed generated early on. But once the club gets to about halfway back, I want to feel my weight completely into my right side. And now I want to feel like the feeling that I get is that I can feel gravity slowing it down into the top of the swing. So I'm going to go ahead and load it up, but then I'm going to let gravity slow the club down through this part. And then once it's made that turn, I'm not really focusing on increasing energy into the ball. I'm just focusing on letting gravity naturally bring the club down. So I'm going to get the ball out of the way here and just do a couple of little demonstrations of what I'm doing, really as much for my sake as for the viewer here, just to kind of get a feel for that rhythm. So fast off, slow, and in. Fast off, slow, impact. Fast off, slow, impact. So I'm really feeling like the speed itself isn't really getting turned on to the very end. And a really fun fact on this is that once you get your club back down into this position where it's really starting to pick up speed, there's only about a tenth of a second of time that passes from the delivery of the impact position. For a reference there, get your phone out and go to the stopwatch function and see how fast you can start and stop a stopwatch. For me, the absolute best I can do is usually about 0.08, and that's pretty rare. Usually it's around 0.1, 0.11, 0.12. So in the amount of time that your brain has to process the amount of acceleration that you need is less time than it takes for you to tap your phone twice. So you're not going to be able to consciously think about how to generate speed in that small window that you really need it. At the end of the day, the only point in the swing that your club head speed matters at all is at the moment of impact. It doesn't matter how fast it is at the top. It doesn't matter how fast it is off the ball. It doesn't matter how fast it's traveling at delivery, even. At the moment of impact is the only thing that matters. For sure, there are trends and patterns there that if it's faster at certain positions, it's most likely going to be faster at impact. But the only point that it really matters and the only point that you want it traveling at max speed is at the moment of impact. So the way to do that is to use a gravity assist. To do that, gravity is far stronger than any muscle in our body. If you don't believe that, try to jump to the moon. The legs are the strongest muscles in the body, and even they can't beat gravity. So there's nothing you're going to be able to do with your body itself that's going to overpower the forces that gravity is going to give you naturally at pulling that club head down and into the ball. So I just want to make sure that I'm getting out of the way of gravity and letting it do its thing, and just me trying to make sure I'm holding on to the club while it does it. So if you pay attention to the shots, my effort level, there's a big difference in the amount of effort that you produce in your swing and the amount of energy that you produce in your swing. I'm hoping to produce a lot of energy with very little effort in this swing. Okay, 111.5. Not quite to where I was with the full effort. 112.1. 112. 111.9. 111.7. 112.4. Okay, I'm gonna do one more here. So didn't pick up that much club head speed, maybe a half a mile per hour, but look at the amount of club head speed and ball speed that I generated with that amount of effort compared to the absolutely every single thing that I had in me effort. So let's take a look at a few numbers from this little experiment today. So club head speed first. So I didn't pick up that much on average. 1/10 of a mile per hour is pretty negligible, I would say. But 4 of my 5 fastest swings actually came from the final grouping where I was focusing more on the rhythm. And it was a much more consistent pattern. Also, let's take a look at the ball speed. I did pick up about 2 miles per hour of ball speed and about 7 yards of total carry with the more rhythmic swing as opposed to the maxed out full effort. And if we look back at the first chart, my 6 fastest ball speeds all came from that final grouping, and my 5 longest carry distances actually came from that final grouping. So even though I didn't necessarily pick up as much club speed as I would like to have had for the purpose of this video, I did pick up a couple miles per hour of ball speed. I did pick up some carry distance, and I tightened my dispersion a ton. If you look at the maxed out swings, I was at 29 yards offline, 57 yards offline. The average of the 3 balls, even with the one that I hit pretty well, were still 29 yards offline. The slower back swing, harder downswing was more consistent, 18, 19, 22 yards offline. But I only hit one ball more than 17 yards offline out of that final 7 where I was focusing on the rhythm. So focusing on rhythm certainly, at the very least, doesn't cost you any club head speed, even though I wasn't able to demonstrate that I could pick up a couple miles per hour with it. At the very least, I didn't lose any club head speed. I gained ball speed, I gained control, and I gained overall carry distance. So if at the end of the day, your goal is to generate as much club head speed as absolutely possible, then it's kind of a tie some days, whether or not swinging with everything you have versus nice, smooth, and under control. But if you want to hit the ball as far as you possibly can, it's pretty clear that rhythm and timing and staying under control and having good balanced power throughout the swing generates a lot more ball speed and a lot more overall carry distance, not to mention a heck of a lot more control over the golf club and a lot more energy preservation so that you can get through 18 holes of doing this. You got to remember that too. When you're maxing out every single swing, that's going to take a toll on your body. And by the 13th, 14th, 15th hole, you may not have quite as much in the tank as you had early on. So swinging hard does not generate the results that we think it does oftentimes. One of the things that's frustrating for me sometimes is that I seem to be kind of maxed out around that 112 to 114 range right now because anytime I hit that max, I want to try to figure out a way to make it go faster. And the only way to do that, I feel like, is to swing harder. And then I start to go back the other direction. So swinging harder is not going to generate more club head speed as much as getting in the right rhythm and making sure you're getting the right pop at the right time. So weight shift, rhythm, timing, and staying under control is going to generate a lot more club head speed than maxing out your efforts.